Welcome back to the 7th and final installment of the JLU 0.0 refresher build. And for you guys that don't know, this started out as my original white JLU SCX24 Jeep that I got way back. And it kind of started it all for me as far as getting into these micro crawlers. So after completing a couple of ground up builds, I wanted to go back and kind of revisit this original one and give it a little refresher. And I think it's ended up being a total transformation. So anyways, let's get into what's gone on here. And if you haven't seen the reveal, I've already put that up. Check that out. This video, I'm just going to go over what I've done since part 6 up until now. So I guess I'll just start kind of from the basics here. I went ahead and got stickers on. I always cut those out where they've got, you know, that clear sticker around them. I try to cut those out as clean as I can. The Rubicon hood stickers did not show up at all. All you saw was the kind of clear plastic edge, so I took those off the hood and put one on the windshield. Of course, I had to get my little scale plates again. I went with California this time so I could get a black plate for kind of the blackout theme. And then this was my, you know, of course, spare exo cage from my other rack that I didn't use. So I contacted the seller and got another pod set of lights, and I already had the extra lenses, so I went with those KCs up there. I got the interior tray in. I mixed up some black and gray to kind of make a dark gray that would match the gray stickers and not really jump out too much, just enough where you see the dash and seats. I think that came out really well. The Snorkel is new. That is from Saddlebag 420 on eBay. That's somebody I've bought 3D parts from before. So at the time, I kind of contacted him a few weeks ago, and this didn't really exist. This is kind of a River Raider shorty type snorkel. And I contacted him and said, hey, can you do something like this? Because I have no way to mount a snorkel that mounts on the side because of this exo cage mount. So he promptly got back to me with a design, and then he shipped me out one for free to test. So just awesome guy, great products, great little snorkel design, came out great. The other big addition here on the front is the 3D printed winch, and that is from the same seller that makes the roof rack lights. So this is a new product from him as well, and it's really sweet. It's actually like a bolt that goes through the 3D print winch housing, and then there's a plastic kind of spool that screws onto the other end. Then the fairlead's painted, and then it's got real wire in there for the line and a little hook, and then the worn sticker. So super detailed, really happy with that. So let's get to the lighting, kind of the big piece here, and the kind of how the switching works and all the issues with that. Let's get this guy powered up. All right. It's alive. So let's talk about the lighting a little bit. That was a little bit of a challenge. So I went with different headlights this time, and they've got basically two lights. They've got a center LED and a halo. And the way these come, they're wired to a manual switch, which, you know, no way I want to use a manual switch. I wanted this all controlled through the radio. So I cut that and ditched it. So basically, you know, I've got two sets of wires to each headlight for two LEDs. So that wasn't super hard. I can wire each one of those, you know, separately, so I can bring two together, and then I've got two lights. It was the rear tail lights that were more of an issue, because when I turn on the headlights, of course I want the tail lights on, right? So nothing abnormal here. All right, so I've got those both wired into the cyclical switch on channel A, so they come on, right? So then when I turn on B, it turns off channel A, and I wanted everything to be red. So it turns on my front and rear bumper lights, the halo light, which is, wired separately, then the roof rack lights, which, that's a separate little whip. And then what it does is I wanted to keep those tail lights on. I don't want those to go off with the white headlights. So originally I wired a Y splitter thinking, oh, this will be easy. Not really thinking fully about current, but current can flow in either direction. So, I switched on A, and all of a sudden I had power to my other splitter block in there, and I powered up all my lights on the other channel. So that's not what I wanted. Luckily, I went in the garage and found this artifact from Radio Shack. I had a bunch of little 1 amp rectifier diodes, which, if you don't know what they are, they basically allow current to flow in one direction only. So I installed those on my Y splitter for those rear tail lights. And they work exactly how I want them. So they're plugged into both switches. So the intent is that they don't go off, and they don't until you switch off both switches. So once I got that figured out, not too hard to get it wired in. So I'm going to pull this off the stand and kind of show you the wiring and the guts inside a little more. All right, let's dig inside of this guy. So it opens up just fine, but it doesn't have a spare tire or anything, so it doesn't want to just stay up on its own. So of course the bumper lights, easy little whip, come up under the mount and then come together and go down kind of the channel right here on this side. And they go to the back. This is my B channel, so that's all the red lights. So that's basically, those are two 5-way splitters from Club 5. I'll show you. That's the case there, but those are awesome. Saved me so much space. I was going to use splitters, but each splitter would have those plastic connectors plus another one, plus all the wiring loom, and I mean, I couldn't have fit it all. So everything else, the rear bumper lights, rear tail lights, the headlights, and the roof rack, they all come through the battery tray, right here by the battery tray, and plug into this rear one. And then one of the tail lights and one of the headlights come up here to this channel A. So nothing mounted in front of the motor, and then everything lays below the tray. You just kind of tuck this battery, plug down, and then on these massive pods here, if I can get that to focus. I talked about last time I was going to have to probably clearance these fenders, so I did. I had to cut out a little more there. But honestly, when it's closed, since they're black, you really don't notice them. But it allows that bulk of wiring to kind of bend upwards, and just the back edge of the pod to kind of fully seat. And then I ended up, shoe glued those in. So that was kind of the most challenging part. I did the headlights last, but I mean, this thing came out exactly how I was envisioning it. Really, really happy. So anyways, I think the next big thing will probably be to get this up on the scales and see how we came out on weight. But I don't know. Give me some feedback in the comments. Tell me what you think. But I couldn't be happier. And one other little detail, I had this extra scaled by Chris Rotopacks left over. So I double-sided that on the back horizontally to one of the hinges. So I had that vertically originally, but of course then it interfered with the bumper trying to hinge this open, so I raised it up a little. But I mean, this thing, it's definitely not a mall crawler, that's for sure. So anyways, let's get up on the scales and check the weight. All right, we're set up for the automated weigh-in here. I'm hands-free. I've got the throttle trim turned up just enough so it started creeping, and then just let it go. And I mean, that's super cool. That's how I did some of the videoing in the reveal video. Being able to move around it hands-free, I just let it crawl on its own and let it go and do its thing. And it's just super smooth. I'm very impressed with this Veritech Komodo motor. This of course is the Lizard ESC paired with that. I've got the 12-tooth pinion and I'm controlling it with the FlySky GT5. Look at that. Let's see if we can get all four wheels up onto these platters. I think my Spectrum controller's beeping at me because I haven't touched it. I'm still here. This will be the longest weigh-in. It's building tension. Let's see if we can get up on these stainless platters. It's not what the mudslingers were made for. I'm not gonna help. I'm not gonna touch it. There we are. I guess I'm gonna have to turn this trim down. There we go. I'm just gonna even it up on the back a little bit. Let it settle. Let's get all these evened up just a hair. Look at that. 50-50 crossweight. 50-50 front to back. Oh my gosh, this is the first weigh-in. Oh, it leaned a little front bias, which I can't complain with that. So, oh, come on, did you time out on me? That's not cool. Took so long. It went to sleep. All right, where were we here? Settle in. Give me that 50-50 crossweight. Give it back. Come on. There it is. Settle it in. Look at that. We'll say 689, 5149, front bias, 50-50. So let's flip over to ounces. So 24.3, and I want to say these start without a battery stock. I think the JLU is like 7.2, 7.3 ounces. So we've tripled that, more than over. So 24, we're basically 1.5 pounds. So yeah, gained some weight here, which was expected. The bumpers, front and rear, and sliders are metal. The Komodo motor is a little bit bigger. Of course, the added brass weights, and then, you know, all of the wiring and extra little switches and things in there, and those front headlights, you know, that all adds some weight. But I think this came out great. Now I've got to actually get it out and, you know, do some actual real world testing rather than just the automated tabletop crawling.